Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look into the Lamborghini Aventador S. In this review, I'm going to start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data. Of course, I'll take it on a thorough drive and show you many of the unique aspects throughout the interior as well as the exterior. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, and let her run. Also, a huge thanks to Lamborghini Carolinas of Greensboro, North Carolina for providing this opportunity today. For more information about the dealership, including contact info and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. To start the Aventador, all you have to do is make sure you have the key fob within the interior, then flip up the little red cap in the console to reveal the starter button, put your foot on the brake and hold down that button to go. The Aventador S can be thought of as a mid-cycle refresh of the original LP700-4 that was first introduced for the 2012 model year. Along with updated styling, the S places more emphasis on handling performance, with significant chassis enhancements, more power, and improved aerodynamics. Stylistically, the Aventador was and continues to be one of the most striking supercars out there, a shape that is as functional as it is aggressive. The S takes it a step further by featuring new front and rear fascias and side sills that generate more downforce and channel air more efficiently to where it's needed the most. The front end is characterized by a longer front splitter to channel more air to the radiators and brake cooling channels. Two air ducts in the outer edges of the front bumper work to reduce air turbulence created by the front tires, smoothing the wake as it flows to the side-mounted radiators. The first thing you'll notice at the rear is a massive air diffuser in the lower fascia. The vertical fins you see amplify the airflow effects of the nearly flat underbody by reducing drag through pressure recovery and generating downforce. Perched on top of the rear deck is an active rear wing that races between three positions based on your speed of travel and the drive mode currently selected. It helps balance the car in conjunction with a set of vortex generators in the front and rear of the underbody. With all the exterior changes, front downforce has been improved by more than 130%. Lamborghini claims that when the rear wing is in its optimum position, overall aerodynamic efficiency at high downforce improves by over 50%, and in low drag by more than 400%. The transparent engine bonnet on this example is an optional feature, but an important one, as it gives you a direct view of the mid-mounted V12. Aside from the typical advancements in technology and performance you'd expect from a new flagship, the most standout elements between the Aventador and the Murcielago lie underneath the bodywork. Most people by now are familiar with the Aventador, but at the center of this car is a carbon fiber monocoque that combines the entire occupant cell, tub, and roof into one component. Together with the aluminum front and rear subframes, the chassis boasts very high torsional rigidity of 35,000 Nm per degree of twist. That's a 150% improvement over the welded steel tube chassis of the Murcielago. The body in white weighs just 505.9 pounds. That's a 30% weight savings over the Murcielago. 325 pounds of that is the monocoque itself. Weight distribution is 43% in front and 57% in the rear. Total curb weight for a US spec Aventador is about 4,100 pounds. The body is made from a combination of aluminum, carbon fiber, and sheet molded composites. The front bonnet, front fenders, and doors are aluminum, while the engine cover is carbon fiber. The rear fenders and rocker covers are composite. Pricing for the 2017 Aventador S begins at $421,145, and that includes a $3,495 destination charge. With an impressive range of optional features including balloon white pearl effect paint, full interior carbon fiber, a carbon fiber engine bay, and much more, this example retails for $503,205. The Aventador S is available with 5 different wheel options. Shown here, the optional Dione forged alloys finished off with polished faces and gloss black painted pockets. Measuring 20 by 9 inches in front and 21 by 13 inches in the rear, they're wrapped in 255/30 and 355/25 tires respectively. The Pirelli P0s were designed specifically for the Aventador S to optimize steering, traction, lane changes, and braking efficiency with the new rear-wheel steering system. They even allow for higher lateral acceleration and reduced understeer tendencies when compared to the setup used in prior years. Based on the LP700-4, the S should be able to pull about 1 g of lateral acceleration. Cross-drilled and internally ventilated carbon ceramic brakes are standard equipment. They're comprised of 15.75 by 1.5 inch discs in front with 6-piston calipers and 14.96 by 1.5 inch discs in the rear with 4-piston calipers. For added personalization, the calipers are available in 5 different colors. Together, they can bring the Aventador S to a stop from 62 miles an hour in just 101 feet. Pedal feel is excellent. The 2 major advancements in lateral control on the Aventador S include adaptive damping and 4-wheel steering, both of which were not included on the LP700-4. Instead of conventional tow control links, there's 2 separate actuators that allow for real-time angle and cornering stiffness adjustment. At low speeds, the rear wheels steer opposite to the front. This virtually shortens the wheelbase, increasing agility through the corners and tightening the turning circle from 41 feet to an average of 37.73 feet. As expected, it also makes in-town maneuvers easier, especially in tight parking spaces. At higher speeds, the front and rear wheels steer in the same direction. This virtually lengthens the wheelbase to provide additional stability, especially noticeable on the highway. It feels more responsive in passing maneuvers as it almost glides between the lanes with a touch of added confidence. The best part about the rear steering system is that it reacts to your steering input in just 5 milliseconds. Quick and seamless, you'll never notice it working, but you can feel it in how the car behaves. The Servotronic hydraulic-powered rack and pinion steering features a variable ratio between 10:1 and 18:1. The amount of turns it takes to lock also varies between 2.1 and 2.4. The Aventador's double wishbone forged aluminum pushrod suspension has been thoroughly revised for the S, with updated kinematics adapted to the 4-wheel steering system. New components include the upper and lower arms and wheel carriers to reduce caster and load on the system. If you're not familiar with how a pushrod suspension operates, the spring and damper elements are not located on the wheel mounts like what's typically seen. They're connected inboard to the body shell structure, transversely positioned underneath the windshield in front and close to the engine in the rear. The push rods and rockers transmit the forces from the wheel mounts to the spring and damper elements. This allows the dampers to be independently managed so the wishbones can focus on wheel control. The magnetorological dampers on the Aventador S add real-time variable damping to improve wheel and body control further, creating a more balanced car that adapts automatically to varying road surfaces and driving behavior. At the heart of the Aventador's 4-wheel drive system is a 4th-generation Haldex electromagnetic multi-plate clutch, which replaced the old viscous coupling system found in the Murcielago. In addition, there's a hydraulic lifting mechanism that, if needed, can raise the front clip up to 1.6 inches to clear driveways and speed bumps. The Aventador S features 4 different drive modes that alter the behavior of the engine, transmission, suspension, steering, and all-wheel drive system. They've been recalibrated and feature a host of improvements, including more differentiation between the modes. They include Strada, Sport, and Corsa, just like before, but there's also a new customizable mode known as Ego, which allows the driver to individually personalize the parameters based on their driving style and preferences. Strada offers the most comfort and control for daily use with a default torque split of 40 and 60% between the front and rear. In Sport, focus is placed on increasing precision and driver feedback. As much as 90% of available torque can be sent to the rear. When coming off the accelerator, less torque is shifted to the front to boost agility. There's much less tendency for understeer too. Sport actually allows for controlled oversteer and even drifting, characteristics you typically expect from a rear-wheel drive car. In Corsa, stability and traction control intervene less, and torque is more balanced between the axles with a maximum split of 20 and 80% between the front and rear. The Aventador S continues to be powered by a naturally aspirated, high-revving 6.5-liter V12. It's the heart and soul of the car that offers so much personality. First introduced back in 2012, this engine is constructed using aluminum for the block and heads with an open deck design, an over-square boring stroke of 95 and 76.4 millimeters respectively, and a 60-degree cylinder layout with steel liners. While it shares displacement with the Murcielago's V12, it's an entirely different animal. At 518 pounds, it's about 40 pounds lighter. Some of that can be attributed to the forged aluminum pistons and the forged steel connecting rods and crankshaft. The valve train consists of dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, and dual variable valve timing. Fuel is delivered via multi-port injection, accompanied by a compression ratio of 11.8 to 1. Dry sump lubrication maintains proper oiling during high-speed cornering and keeps the center of gravity low as the engine is able to sit deeper within the chassis. With revisions to the variable valve timing and variable intake systems, the Aventador S develops 740 horsepower at 8,400 RPM. That's 40 horsepower more than the LP 700-4. Peak torque remains the same as before, 509 pound-feet at 5,500 RPM. This allows the car to hit 60 miles an hour in just 2.9 seconds and accelerate to a top speed of 217 miles per hour. With the all-wheel drive system seamlessly working in the background, the sensation of speed and control is hard to describe. It's an experience that few cars can come close to matching, and let's not forget about how it sounds. The Aventador S breathes a little easier thanks to a new variable exhaust system that's louder and 20% lighter than before, allowing for a more dramatic crescendo as the engine approaches its 8,500 RPM redline, which is up from 8,350 RPM. The new exhaust is characterized by 3 distinct tailpipes at the rear. Power is harnessed by Lamborghini's ISR 7-speed automated manual transmission. With the ability to shift gears in as little as 50 milliseconds, ISR is one of the quickest transmissions available this side of Formula One. You can easily switch between automatic and manual shifting by a button labeled M in the center console. During my drive, I never took it out of manual mode. It's incredibly fun having the added control, especially with a car like this. The column-mounted paddles emit a satisfying clink with each pull. Reverse is also engaged by a button in the center console, but neutral is engaged by pulling both paddles towards you simultaneously. ISR uses a single dual-plate clutch and 4 independent shifting rods to control the odd and even gears simultaneously, causing a partial overlap with each gear change, similar concept to a dual-clutch transmission. At 154 pounds, ISR weighs about half that of a comparable DCT. The synchros are even made of carbon fiber. Single-clutch automated manuals typically exhibit lurching sensations at lower speeds, same goes for the Aventador, but it's pretty well managed. Before ISR, you had E-gear, which was offered in both the Murcielago and the Gallardo. ISR is a monumental improvement as it shifts significantly faster. While the DCT used in the Huracan is notably smoother at lower speeds, it doesn't offer the same level of involvement you get with each shift. ISR adapts to how you drive. The harder you push the car, the quicker and more assertive it becomes. It's a unique solution that, in the Aventador's case, is a perfect match to its silky smooth V12. For the fastest acceleration off the line, launch control is available when the drive mode is set to Corsa. EPA fuel economy estimates for the Aventador S range between 11 miles per gallon in the city and 18 miles per gallon on the highway. Expected average is around 13 miles per gallon. Premium unleaded fuel is required and is held within a 22.5-gallon tank. In an effort to improve fuel economy, all Aventadors are equipped with an auto start-stop system and cylinder deactivation. Ever since the Countach, all of Lamborghini's V12 models have featured the brand's now signature vertical doors. While they're one of the most recognizable styling elements in the automotive industry, they also provide a functional benefit as they take up less space to open than a conventional door, making it easier to climb in and out when space is limited. The interior of the Aventador S is pretty much unchanged aside from the addition of Apple CarPlay to the infotainment system. Sitting in this thing is an amazing experience in its own right. The entire interior was designed to evoke the feel of a fighter jet, and you really do get that impression. Look around, you'll find banks of toggle switches, and when you grab the wheel, you're instantly greeted by a full TFT reconfigurable digital instrument cluster. When you compare build quality, fit and finish, and ergonomics between the Murcielago and the Aventador, the differences are staggering, so much so that it's hard to imagine that they came from the same company. Build quality, fit and finish, all that good stuff of the Aventador is absolutely world class. The majority of surfaces are wrapped in leather. You can also get Alcantara accents. This particular example has the full carbon interior package, so carbon fiber accents everywhere, as well as the Sportivo package to give it a little bit of a racier look. Both seats are fully powered and have 4-way lumbar adjustment, the steering wheel's manual tilting and telescoping. It's surprisingly comfortable for what it is. You also have some storage pockets here and there, including a glove box and a bit of storage in between the seats. The Aventador was designed as an inherently safe vehicle, as the carbon fiber monocoque also creates a very high level of passive safety. You're pretty much encased in a cocoon. In the event of an accident, the bolt-on subframes are designed to absorb much of the impact. If the car ever rolls over, there's a pyrotechnic system built into the bolts of the doors that can be set to discharge so you can still get out of the car, being that the doors open upward. Inside, you're protected by 6 airbags, including front dual-stage airbags, head, thorax, side airbags, and driver and passenger knee airbags. For infotainment, the Aventador borrows a modified version of Audi's MMI system, and if you've used that system in the past, the layout of the controls in the center console should be instantly familiar. In the middle, you have a rotary dial and 4 buttons that correspond to each quadrant of the screen. There's a bunch of different options, and all of that depends on which menu you're in. On either side of that central stack, you have shortcut buttons for the main features. As far as media options, you have standard satellite radio, a built-in hard drive to store songs, and Bluetooth streaming, not to mention iPod auxiliary integration, SD card inputs, and a built-in CD player. In the middle, you have a bank of toggle switches that I mentioned earlier. On the outer portions, you have power windows, as well as the front-end lift, stability control, parking sensors, and turning on and off the auto start-stop system. Right beneath that, you have a standard dual-zone automatic climate control system. Once you press a button, everything is routed through the main dial in the middle. Heated seats are optional. Now let's go ahead and see how she sounds. We'll go ahead and shut her down and check out trunk space. It's a well-known fact that two things that don't really go together are supercars and practicality. It's the same for the Aventador, just like it is with a lot of Ferraris and other vehicles in this segment. Up front, you have 4.9 cubic feet worth of cargo space, which, when the divider's in place, wasn't enough to put my camera bag, but when it's free, you have a little bit of space to put some everyday type items. There's also some illumination and a 12-volt power outlet. To close the lid, just lower it down gently and press on the middle.
Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the Lamborghini Aventador S. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.